All right. I think we're in the house, y'all. How you all doing today? All right. It is so good to see you all. It's been a little while since I've been able to get one of these lives off, but I wanted to get one off before Christmas. And hopefully we'll be getting some more support in the new year, but we'll keep doing what we're doing as much as we can and hoping that it's helping somebody out there. And what we're talking about is codependency. We're talking about people pleasing. And today we are talking about the subject of trauma is your problem. Trauma is your problem. What do we mean? It's my problem. I mean, things happen to me that I didn't have control over, and that is true. Trauma is your problem. Things happen to me that I had no control over. Trauma is your problem. Okay. Not from the standpoint of that you are in any way responsible for the trauma that you have experienced in any way. That is not your problem, but it does become a part of my problem as I have to learn to function and deal with the fact that it did happen and it did exist. And that it does exist, and that it's now impacting the way that I function in relationships on a day to day basis. Trauma is my problem now because it's me that has to deal with it instead of somebody else. The people who have abused me and been a part of my trauma and things like that, they're living their lives, but I'm sometimes stuck and unable to bring about resolution in my relationships. And guess what? The trauma shows up in different ways. I'm so sensitive to certain things that happen with me in relationships. I am very concerned about how people view me in relationships so much to the point that it causes me to act in ways that I don't really want to in order to secure relationships. Okay. Sometimes I'm being manipulated. I'm sometimes when it comes to romantic relationships being used and I don't feel comfortable expressing my needs. You can violate me and I feel bad and feel guilty about expressing to you about how you've harmed me. Maybe because sometimes when I have done that, then it gets drawn back into my lap. And then I feel guilty as if I am the one that created the problem. And I'm feeling kind of crazy. Now I'm starting to feel a little bit gaslighted. I'm feeling confused. So these are some of the things that happen with trauma. And I'm going to admit, there are some of you all that are brave and ready to deal with your trauma. And you're going to be able to deal with it moving into the new year. And but then there's a piece of us, there's some of us that still do not like and do not want to acknowledge that there are things that happen to us that have to be dealt with. This is an older group, so it's people in here like in their 60s and 70s, some in their 30s and 40s. And this is the question to all of you all. We have moved this far in our existence, not dealing with the pieces that if you dig deep down inside, you know what caused this. You know what's causing these problems. You know what it's rooted in. You know that, you know, when you changed as a child, you know the incident that happened, you know how it was dealt with or it wasn't dealt with. Okay. And so what's happening is that many of us are having a conscious refusal to acknowledge the existence of things that happen to us, many times even by our caregivers or under their care. Okay. Um, and we carry on as if it does not exist. And I want to make it clear, as long as you carry on as though these things that don't exist, as they don't exist, when they're very present and you feel them and they exist in your mind and they impact on a daily basis how you think about yourself, as long as we continue to in a sense put our minds in a way of denial that tries to, it's been this long and it hasn't gone anywhere, has it? It's been this long and it remains. And there is a connection with things that happen to you, okay, and the people who were in your environment. And I'm just going to make a strong statement today. Until we acknowledge the problem before the problem, we're going to continue to have others. So some of you all trying to be in romantic relationships, and you keep getting triggered by the person who's in front of your face. And they're probably narcissists, so I can understand why you would be triggered, right? But this is the thing. This is about you. Okay. The whole story about how I got with them, that's a whole different thing. But before I got to them, I was broken. They didn't break me. We're talking about the problem before the problem. Before I got to this abusive relationship, before I got to this relationship where you don't seem to see me or really care, where you don't show empathy, there was a problem before there was a problem. Okay. And until I accept certain things that existed in my life as being a part of my story, my reality, and I discontinue the dissociations. I discontinue um, acting as though certain things that hurt me didn't hurt me. So now, because I had a problem before the problem, I come into a new situation and I use those same tools, those same tactics that don't ever serve me. They serve everybody else in the room but me. And so that's what I want to talk about today is accepting certain things as part of my story moving forward, so then when I accept it, I'm coming to the reality that until I accept it and address it, it's not going to go away. And here it is. How many more years we got? Okay, because some of us are in a season in the game. How many more years do we have of misery? How many more years do we have of self-hate? How many more years do we have of low self-esteem, low self-worth, feeling like I'm looking thirsty? Over analyzing my thoughts and actions in relationships and situations because of insecurities that I have, because something that's endowed with me makes me feel as though there's something short on my end of the stick. It's when it comes to worth. Okay. So we're talking about moving into the new year. We're talking about making a transformation as far as the things that I do and how I feel about myself. Okay. The reason why I was triggered, the reason why I'm in this relationship with this person and I'm being triggered is because you know what? When you don't give me the time and attention that I need, that I desire, or you push it off as though it's not important to you, it's a reminder of that, you know what, when I think about it, when I was young, I never received that type of attention. So I'm now seeking something that I have never been able to attain. This is why it's a trigger for me. This is why I go back balled up when you treat me this way, when you disrespect me this way, why I feel so awful, because each time I'm taking myself back, I'm allowing for this person to bring me back into unresolved trauma. But I'm thinking in my mind that I've moved past this. We haven't moved past it. We have to undo the thoughts that came along with the abandonment, the absent mother, the absent father, the drug addicted person, or the person who just was a great parent, but just didn't understand how to see me and to ask me about my needs and my hurts and my pains and the things that matter to me, because I've carried on and I'm in new relationships just like this because I haven't addressed the elephant in the room. So that's why I'm triggered by you who's sitting up in here, but who shouldn't really be in the room with me, but who I have chosen, and I'm seeking for something that I never had. The problem, I'm seeking to solve the problem here, which was a problem before this problem. I was empty and lonely, feeling unloved, unlovable, sometimes unworthy. Okay. And so this is why they have the control. Because, see, once we resolve the problem as far as how I feel about myself, then I don't have to worry about this problem in front of me, because you can no longer manipulate me by thinking you're going to spoon feed me whenever you want to, the time and attention, because I now no longer feel that when I don't receive time and attention, it's a reflection of me, that I'm unimportant or I'm not worthy of it. So I'm not thirsty, and I'm not running after you to give that to me. If you choose not to give it, I still love me, and I find other places and sometimes other people to be dealing with that will give me that exchange. So that's the problem before the problem. And I'm just going to end it there. Some of us moving into the new year because we almost here. I think we got a couple weeks, but we're almost here. We've got to be reprogramming ourselves to reset, and we've got to pick up the baggage that we have and rummage through it, and so that we can get rid of the baggage. But before we just throw the baggage out the door, we got to process what this baggage is. Why is it that this is so heavy on me? Because just throwing it out is not going to resolve the situation, because there's no resolution in that. Okay. And some of these things that are needed in order for me to address the problem before the problem aren't going to be as difficult as we think. We just want to get back to understand about how I got to this point of thinking of myself the way that I see myself. I don't want to see myself this way. How can I get to the point of acceptance, and then where I attract people that are more giving, more loving, more empathetic, and that are going to make a relationship, appreciate a relationship with me and reciprocate it. That's what we're doing moving into the future, reshaping the mind. But reshaping the mind means that, you know what? There are some things that are on the table that I'm going to have to deal with. I'm going to have to accept this as being part of my story. But there's a way to process that positively, that affirms and builds me instead of bringing me down worse. Y'all take care. We'll talk soon. All right. God bless. Bye bye.